trip, Maximum Overland. And this is my kit. So, we've talked about this in previous videos, and we've also talked about what you need and how much you need and what's it going to take to get started. Well, this is the fourth step in the series that we've been doing, How to Overland. And so kind of what I wanted to do is give you an understanding of what my kit is versus what you actually need, or actually what it takes to get started. And so, as you can see, there's a lot of stuff here. And to be perfectly clear, all of this stuff is in the Jeep at all times. So I don't have a rack on top or a rack in back. I actually modularly fit all of this stuff into the Jeep and carry it inside. And so obviously when you get to camp, there's a lot of unpacking and packing and Tetris, as you will. But this way I found in my vehicle suits me a little better, because I can kind of lay everything out and know that I've captured each bin, and each bin has a certain purpose, and those purposes are filled when I'm going my checklist. What have I picked? What have I picked up? Do I have stuff for mechanical? Do I have stuff for fire starting, camping, air tools, recovery, miscellaneous items, fluid, lights, my chainsaw, water. So you can see that there's a lot that can be had, but then also you can still do it minimally, because again, in the very first videos I talked about the fact that you could use your vehicle for shelter and sleeping in, laying the seats down or what have you, and sleeping in it, at the same time cooking as a minimalist and using a fire in a great process. So there's so many ways to go about overlanding. That's why I wanted to do these series, so I could show you that you could do it with a little or you could do it with a lot. And again, it's leveling up and staging up from where you were before. So as you go out and gain experience and you get the mindset of, okay, this is what I like about camping and this is what I would like to fix about how I camp, or overland per se, this is what gives you the ability to do it. And so I've accumulated these things over time and at a necessity. And there are a few things that I take that are probably overkill, but I'm one of the ones that would rather be, I guess, prepared for whatever may happen to somebody else versus me. I try to keep all my stuff in good shape, and I try to make sure that mechanically I'm always doing my job, but at the same time I always want to have extra for anyone else. If that's food or shelter or a tarp or something, you always want to be able to do that. So without further ado, this is my kit and this is how it works. So over here you see the InnoStage fire pit. If you're in an area where you can't have an exposed fire, this allows you to have a fire in a controlled environment, and they will generally allow you to do that in a fire banned area. Also, what it allows me to do is burn small sticks, pine cones, twigs, smaller wood, and also use it as a cooking platform. So that's that. That's my Mr. Buddy heater that I use inside my tent. I do have to sleep with a CPAP, so in sub 30 degree temperatures, the moisture in the CPAP freezes and starts blowing ice chips into my tube. So obviously I can't have that. So I use the Mr. Buddy heater to keep things warm. My quick deploy table from Walmart, and then a Coleman cot. Now going from there, I have a simple chair, another Ozark Trail platform chair from Walmart. Again, I'm like 220 and I sit in this thing and I've never had a problem with it. So as far as its strength and longevity, it's been holding up pretty well. And then a spare blanket for on real cold nights. I can use that either under my sleeping bag or cover it. And then a Sierra Designs pillow, camp pillow, you can see, and you can roll this thing up in itself and it shrinks down real small, form factor. My sleeping bag, and this one is a 10 an extreme 5C Celsius sleeping bag. This is another thing I suggest you carry. It's a quick deploy rain jacket slash poncho, and it's by Frogworks from Walmart. And then as we move that, my blue water jug, my chainsaw, which is the lifesaver. We will do trail maintenance when we have to. And I know we talk a lot about leave no trace, but at the same time, you don't want anybody to get hurt. And some of these limbs are hanging out in position to where if you're driving with the window open, it could catch you in the face, and that'd be a bad situation in some of these backcountry areas. So we try to knock some of those down. Also for fallen timber, there's a lot of fallen timber that we deal with in New Mexico, because again, I try to pick the trails least traveled, and so there's generally a lot of work to it, which is fine with me because I enjoy that whole part of it. Been using a chainsaw for many, many years, and so I'm comfortable with it. That's something if you want to do and add to your kit, there's an electronic version or electric version by Makita, I believe, or Milwaukee, that is a hell of a piece of equipment to put in your kit, because it makes gathering and cutting wood real fast. Other than that, again, these are ammo crates that I got off Amazon that I use for assorted things. So we'll go through them real quick. And then there's my cast iron pot and pan that I use for cooking, and a simple French press. Now I also have an AeroPress in here for coffee, but I will say I am an advocate for a French press over any type of coffee. I found that it basically cleans so much of the impurities and acids out that it'll taste different than you've ever had coffee before. So if you haven't done that, try an AeroPress or try just a standard French press. And then here's the trusty Coleman Thermoelectric cooler. Again, it's not a refrigerator, but it's a cooler. It works similar, it just doesn't achieve some of the temperatures they do. And then this is a clear bin I use for mostly food items. And the reason being is you can see what's going on. Sunlight gets in there, it doesn't allow any kind of mildew or stuff like that to build up in here. And then on top of it is my small Tembo Tusk. And again, this is linked. I've got all the description stuff linked. And then a collapsible watch pin. These are really, really neat. And so when people are looking for things, this is all cheap stuff. But it's a collapsible watch base, and it gets one more layer below this. And so you can wash all your dishes, and then when you're done, it collapses right back up and slips into one of my little areas, and it makes the form factor just incredible. I also use this part right here as a cutting board. So that's what I'm saying about small form factor and form factors that are made to fit places. And then probably one of the most important things that I believe you should have is a bunch of different types of light sources. This stuff is all really, really cheap. I got all of it off Amazon, and again, I've got it linked in the description of all my videos. All my videos, just so you know, in the description of the video, if you go over there and hit the right arrow on the bottom side of the video in the description, every one of them will list, and it'll say the description, the name, and its physical URL address that you can click on. It'll take you right to the store to see it. And if I couldn't find it on Amazon, something similar to it. But this way, it just makes it easier for when you're going through these videos and you're making checklists on what you need and what you don't have. It's really simple to write them down and remember, I can just go to the description and just click on that link and go make it super easy for yourself. It is a paid link. All those are paid links. And I want to be clear, it's very minimal, but it helps. And at the same time, it really simplifies it for you guys, because I've done a lot of headache work finding these things and determining things that work and don't work, and things that are worth the money and that aren't. And I'll say this, I'm gonna close up on you. Remember, I'll say it again, it's not always about what you pay for something, whether it's good or not. A lot of this stuff, as you can see, is Walmart brand stuff, and I'm not opposed to that. What I'm opposed to is thinking that you can't go do this because you don't have a lot of money. And the premise behind putting all this stuff out here for you guys to see is, geez, that's a lot of stuff to acquire. It really doesn't take it. So, to be honest, if you were talking about what you would need, if you have that fire source, if you have that sleeping bag, that pillow, a spare blanket, this is a emergency jacket, a water source, and a chair, you're pretty much there. There's not much else you need or have to have. Now, all of this other stuff comes with seasoning and learning. And again, we as humans want to modify everything we do, and we want to make it better. And so we want to make our experience better. And anybody that's with you, we want to give them the best experience. Or newcomers, I want to give them the best experience when we go out and say, hey, this is what it's about. This is what Overland is about. But it doesn't require all this. But again, I could really simply grab that firebox, the stuff right here, and one of those, and I believe one or the other is the tent and tarps and stuff, and the other one's cooking. So with those two crates, this right here and this water jug, the fire source, I'm on my way. And that's cooking anywhere. I wouldn't even have to take that if I was going to a national park that had a barbecue pit or pre-built fire pits. So that's what I'm saying about how simple it is. And I don't have the cost on me, and you guys can, beat me up in the comments if you want. I'd love for you to. But all said and done, if I was to assume that chair was like $6, this sleeping bag was like $90, the pillow was $20 or so, the blanket was $20 or so, the crates were about $15 a piece, and then my tent was off of Amazon, and I've got it linked. I want to say it was $100 or so. So I bet you, if I was to have to go spend the money today, I could get everything I needed for $150 to go camping. Now, that's not your food and your gas, but I could get everything to go camping for the weekend or for a week, whatever anybody was talking about, with about $150. That being said, tent, a sleeping bag, some type of cooking utensil, some kind of water storage, a chair, and a simple cooler. And I showed the simple cooler on our website as well, or not the website, but in the descriptions. So that's what I'm saying. I know you're looking at this and thinking this is a whole bunch of gear and trying to decipher what it costs, but it's not about that. This is about me showing you what I take now versus what I took when I started. And what I took when I started was a tent, a blanket, some blankets from home, a pillow from home, a pot and a pan from home, some cups from home, silverware from home. So I bet you I did it for less than 150. So that's what I'm saying is it starts becoming easier when you start thinking about what you already have versus what you need to purchase. So again, all these videos leading up to here, I was talking about, hey, we really want to get you to talk to your community. We really want you to talk to your friends and ask for the things that maybe they use or don't use or you can borrow, because it gets you camping sooner. And again, if you throw in your vehicle, I'm not sure what type of vehicle you have, but if you have a small SUV or a pickup, you can sleep in the bed of the pickup, you can sleep in the SUV by folding the seats down, even some small cars you can sleep in the back seat. So there's just an endless amount of ways to get this accomplished and do it. And the biggest thing, again, is mindset and knowing that you really want to do it and liking doing it, and then just taking the plunge. Because once you take the plunge, you start manipulating everything after that, and you start figuring out quickly what you need first, second, third, fourth, and down the run. And so that being said, I'll kind of show you how it's broken up, and it's going to be kind of a split camera, but it's pretty simple to understand. Like I said, simple firebox, simple table, Mr. Buddy heater, a chair. This guy right here, you see some of the other Overland videos. I would like to show this out because I think I paid $160 for this. And what it is it's a canopy, an arched canopy that attaches to the back of my Jeep over the rear window and door opening area, and then extends out about 9 feet. And what's so nice about that is this last trip, it snowed for 48 hours straight and it rained at the same time. And so that kept us dry the whole time, and I was able to still cook and still clean and still take care of everything I needed to do underneath that. Competitive prices for these guys. Again, this is the Hasika, $169. I think the closest I saw to it was $400, and then $400 and up, $600, $700. So I definitely wanted to point that out real quick. But I digress. Water, my Ryobi chainsaw. All this is a packable blanket. Double fabric bottom to soft quilted upper, packs in an easy container, and it says it's 60 by 70. So it really does the job. And again, this is all stuff that I use in my kit that stays as camping gear. I don't take it inside. I don't reuse it for anything else. Pillow. Matter of fact, I know it sounds terrible, but I've never washed my sleeping bag or pillow or blanket. I probably should do that. I will do that. Totes. The reason why I picked totes is room and space is always at a premium. So with these tote systems, I can carry so much stuff that actually fits in a Jeep. And so with the seats down, I pack all this stuff in there. Again, like Tetris, but it all fits. Let's see. This one says camping supplies, tents, stakes, but just so you know, I've got a simple Walmart tarp. It's a 12-foot tarp, and then in here I've got another tent. This is another jacket, another rainproof jacket. There's just everything you would need for tents, my stakes. There's some hammers. Pretty simple stuff, obviously, for what it is. So that's that. Next thing is going to be cooking. And again, so you see all this stuff, but with these two crates, these two yellow crates, and essentially the sleeping stuff, that's all I really need to have to go. And so before you start thinking there's all these things that you need, it's just really not true. This is my camp oven. I was turned on to this by Kevin from Lifestyle Overland, and it's been a godsend. Making biscuits and gravy at the campsite, fresh. This is pretty impressive, along with cinnamon rolls. Making cinnamon rolls at the camp is pretty cool too. But just simple stuff like that. Then a simple dish kit from Walmart. Again, this is that 11-piece dish kit from Walmart. I think it was $17. Then I have just, you know, the common things that you would need. Propane bottles, a small kit from GSI. This kit from GSI has most of what you would need for all your eating. A spatula, spoon, a cheese grater, a knife, a small cutting board, silverware. So pretty much everything you would need. But this is a food item, you don't need it. And then that's essentially about it in there. I've got my small single burner propane stove, but that's it. And so now you can see why I tell you all the time that you can do this for a minimal amount of money. And I always mean that. And I always try to set it up to where people can do it for a little bit of money. And the reason being is the more people we get out and enjoying this safely, the more people we have to go with us, to be honest. And so it's about sharing the journey and going and seeing things that we haven't seen before. Technology is amazing. We get to see all those things every day with all the innovations that happen, whether it's your home, your nest, or how you communicate with your cameras and TVs from being somewhere else. I mean, there's a bunch of things, but what we've stopped doing is going outside, and especially right now, and what's past happened, you know, with COVID, and what it showed us as a nation. We need to kind of reinvest into the outdoors, and I think it would be better for everybody. I mean, I know it is for me. I'm an avid gym goer. I love that, but I assure you, there is absolutely nothing like setting out somewhere where nobody else is, listening to fire crack, and making your own food and kind of making your own way through trails that aren't commonly traveled, and it's just a way to kind of recenter yourself. And I know I'm digressing and kind of moving somewhere else, but just think about it. I mean, if this is what you're looking for, again, comment below. I will literally help you through every situation you come into or have questions about or need to work through. I'll help you figure out a work through. Even if that's in the very last video about navigation and how to find something close, send me a message, comment below, and I'll send it back to you, and I'll help you walk through some places that I find in your area that I think look interesting. And so, again, it's time to reconnect, and really it's something that, will feed your soul, I promise you that. So, moving on. Now, this stuff is super important to me because most of the time when people get hurt at camp or camping is at nighttime. You can't see where you're going. You're not familiar with the territory. You walk into sticks and branches, I see happen a lot. So lighting is important, and all these little things are something you can carry with you. They're all USB rechargeable. These two specifically are, and they can charge something else with them. The neat thing about them is when you're driving in your car, you can just charge them that way, and then they're charged for quite a bit of time. And they each have multiple brightness output settings, so that makes them nice as well. These guys are my favorite. This is a set of rope lights. This is just a blow-up light, and this is a blow-up light. And what I like about these most is before I go and head out of town, what I'll do is I'll throw these up on the dash of the Jeep. And so when we get to camp and it starts to get nighttime, I already know where they are. They're already fully charged. And then I go pick them up, blow them up, and then now they're working. And it's just, how they work is pretty impressive. And this, as you suck this up, pull it out, it automatically fills itself up with air. And so see, now you're producing light. And they got multiple light settings, they have multiple options. And then again, when you're done, watch this. That's how much you're packing away. So, same with this guy. You just blow them up, and then the LEDs are around the bottom. This guy is pretty neat. Set of rope lights, and they are pretty neat. We run them. If you look at some of our other videos, some of the pictures, you'll see that they just wrap around these little LEDs. I just, attach them to the Jeep, trees, and anything adjacent that'll hold something, and that way I can light walking areas, anything like that. Anything that I think is dangerous or needs light, I can add those to it. And the neat thing about these is you can never have too many. I'll honestly say that, because a lot of times people forget simple things like these, and I much rather like to navigate camp at night with more light than less, and so that helps me. On these crates, I've got these crates linked in the description, and it's just a standard ammo box. Open, it's super light against the way they used to do them is in metal ammo cans. Everybody has one of these. These are plastic, so they're super light. And I literally have all kinds of fluids for the Jeep that you would need. This is actual gear oil. I've got WD-40. I've got brake oil for the Jeep itself. Here's coolant. And again, these are not must to have to go camping. It's just smart to do it, and they're marked. And so I can send anybody to the Jeep and say, hey, get the one that says fluids on it, and it'll tell you what's in it. Oil, coolant, WD-40, gear oil. This is another miscellaneous one. This one's got all kinds of stuff. It's a utility box. An extra belt for the RIP supercharger. There's stuff to plug a tire. There's beads for if a tire goes out of whack, I can add the beads on the trail. And it says jumper cables, jump box, working light, spotlight, zip ties, electrical connectors, epoxy, wire, twine, tape, hose clamps, spare lug nuts. That's another thing, spare lug nuts. Always check your lug nuts. Before you go on a long trip, when you're checking your air, before you hit the highway, check your lug nuts and always torque them. Loctite, more Gorilla Tape, and then tire beads and valve stems, and a valve stem repair kit. That way, if I lose a valve stem on the trail while I'm wheeling or what have you, I can replace it, because if you can't do that, you're changing the tire, and then you've changed the tire that otherwise is perfect, and now you have no spare. So, keep that in mind. Then, air tools. Air tools. Let's see. Air tools. My speed plate system's in here for all 4 tires, air up and air down at the same time. And then I've got a couple other manual gauges, digital gauges, a that sort, that really helps, because this is something that I leave by the door all the time. That way, once I get to the trailhead, I open my passenger door, or excuse me, my driver's side passenger door, and I grab this is right by the door. And so I open it up, open the top up, and pull it out. And then, and just so you know, food for thought, this air down is with me at all times. I built a twin Vi-Air compression tank system for onboard air, and so this stuff is with me all the time. The air tool and all the air stuff is with me at all times. In case somebody else needs air, or somebody just has a funny issue and for some reason we need to run the air tools, I can do that. And then this is something that stays in there all the time, and you can see why. It's recovery. Super important. In your kit for camping and going anywhere, make sure you identify how your vehicle can be pulled or towed, and then get something that can attach to it. There's a lot of time. I have a bunch of stuff: winch, different type of hooks, different type of straps, different type of connectors, D-rings. I have pelicans. I have soft shackles. There's a lot of stuff I have, but there's times that I told you guys in a video before, I've seen the craziest vehicles on trails going somewhere they shouldn't be going. And then we've had to try to figure out how to snatch them out of, either a mud hole, or they've high-centered on a trail because they didn't have the ground clearance. So identify what your mode of extraction is for your specific vehicle, and carry that. That way, if you do need it, you can say, hey, hold on, guy, I've got this, and it matches my car perfectly. So let me set this up for you, and you can attach that to pull out. Super smart to do. So along with all that stuff, this stuff goes hand in hand. Again, recovery air tools are always in tightness. Always, always, always. And then over to cooking and food. This is my Tembo Tusk. Again, we went over this. As far as food, I do a couple things that I would show. This is another container that I got from Walmart. I can link to it. A single cup French press, protectors for my eggs, and then what I wanted to show you guys was this real quick, because we talked about how could we cook and how could we feed ourselves on the trail if I didn't have all this other neat kit, and I didn't have a way, or I didn't feel comfortable building fires or cooking in fires or something like that. All this takes is, hey, this is hash brown potatoes, potatoes with bacon, peppers, and onions. All this takes to cook is hot water. So, and excuse me, these are the self-cooking. So even these, you don't even need boiled water. With these, it's got a thermal pack inside, and you just pour water in that thermal pack. You open the seal, pour water in the thermal pack that's inside, close it, and there's a chemical reaction that happens between that thermal pack and the water, and it steam cooks this food. So now you're eating, and you don't have to have a fire, you don't have to have a combustion source, you don't have to have pots and pans to do it, and you can still eat. And again, so if you had a cooler and didn't want to just eat sandwiches, you could throw these in there. And there's all kinds of stuff. So again, remember that there's not an excuse for why you can't do it. And I have all kinds of stuff. I like mashed potatoes that you just add water to and stuff like that. So yeah, I will do you a huge solid. And I know this is one of my secrets. I'm not super comfortable giving it out, but I will. The best way to have the best steak of your life, or most of all food, is to use this Montreal steak seasoning. It makes everything fantastic. Now that being said, that basically covers everything. I basically wanted to just show this video and have it be step 4, as in giving you an ability to kind of itemize what you have and what you need, and what people like us generally have in our kit, and that help us through things. The one thing I didn't show is I do have 2 cases that I carry tools in. But other than that, I've shown you everything. And so they're similar cases to these ammo boxes, but they're black. And they just have sockets, hand tools, wrenches, multiple types of screwdrivers, strange things like that. But yeah, I guess that's it. So So remember, step 4 is getting it all out, laying it all out, and figuring out what you have and what you don't have. So if you have something to cover your head, if you have something to wrap around your body, if you have food, you have water, and you have a vehicle, you can literally get going now. So do me a favor, comment. Let me know what you're missing, what you want to see out of the content, what you'd like me to answer about this stuff. And if you have any questions, send me a question, and I will answer it. I will do my best to directly connect with you and be as thorough as I can to make sure that things don't seem hard when they really aren't. Because again, a lot of what we're doing is pretty simple stuff, and I would love to show that to you. Also, do me a favor, go over and subscribe. Show the love by subscribing, and I'll keep these videos coming, and I'll keep them super simple so everybody can understand that this is not an unobtainable goal for sure. We can have you doing it and doing it well quickly, and it's just about educating yourself and spending time and having the right kit when you go out so that you're most prepared, because I don't like being ill prepared. The one thing I didn't show you is my safety med kits, because they're both velcroed inside the Jeep, one on each side. So that's the one thing that I didn't show you, but you've seen it in a press video, that 134 piece kit. I have 2 of those strapped to my roll bar on each side of the Jeep, so any door you went in, you'd be able to grab one immediately. But that being said, comment. Let me know what you think. Hit the like button, and do me a favor, subscribe. Stay tuned. Get your stuff together, because the next video is about Gaia and mapping how to get out of town. All right? You have a good one.